tonight on SportsDesk. Let's suit up. You may have seen him on your screens, but we will bring you the story of the man behind the face mask in the stands of Hard Rock.
Plus, Z meant to be? 6'4" sophomore forward Lazaria Spearman hits the court with Tenda Mukare-Shija on Athlete of the Week as she tests her skills in a friendly game of horse.
And later on, find out how one UM Band of the Hour trumpeter is overcoming obstacles and proving to be an inspiration to musicians everywhere.
All that and more?
SportsDesk starts
right now.
I'm Ed Reed, and you're watching SportsDesk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former UM guy. You're watching SportsDesk.
What's up? I'm DJ Williams, and y'all watching SportsDesk.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Desk. I'm Ryan Marshall.
And I am Jake Baum. We've got a packed show for a big homecoming week, and we got a lot to talk about.
Absolutely, Jake. But before we get to that, let's take a look at last week's thriller against Clemson.
Exactly. The Miami Hurricanes welcome in the Clemson Tigers for an ACC bash at Hard Rock Stadium. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from last Saturday. Starting off in the third quarter, there was too much action in the second half. We had to show all of it. Cade Klubnik going to Jake Brenningstool in the end zone to extend Clemson's lead by 10. Not looking good for the Hurricanes at this point, but continuing on to the fourth quarter, it's going to be Emory Williams backing up Tyler Van Dyke, who was unable to go in this one, lobbing a beautiful touch pass to Colby Young over the head of the receiver. So we're going to go to first overtime after tied in regulation. It's going to be Bora Gallus hitting a 35-yard field goal to tie things up, and we will go into a second overtime where Miami is going to get the touchdown and the two-point conversion. A.J. Allen on this beautiful juke move to get into the end zone for the Hurricanes. So Canes up 8. It's going to be up to Cade Klubnik and the Tigers to tie this one. Before he even have the opportunity for the two-point conversion, he tries an option play toward the left side of the field, and he would get stopped by Corey Flagg, hero of the game for the Hurricanes. Hurricanes win 28-20 in a nail-biter.
Coming off a win in dramatic fashion last week without Tyler Van Dyke, Miami hopes to keep the momentum going and turn it into a big win for homecoming. Our In the Trenches crew is here to discuss how Miami can avoid a scare this week against Virginia. Guys?
Thanks, Ryan, and welcome to In the Trenches. I'm your host, Wrigley Court, joined by analyst Andrew Klein. Let's get right into it. Now, the Canes have been haunted by Clemson in recent years, but for the first time since 2010, they beat the Tigers. That's their first home win against Clemson since 1956. And Andrew, they did it with a backup quarterback.
Yeah, Wrigley, they did do it with a backup quarterback, and Emory Williams was good, not great for this Miami Hurricanes team on Saturday against Clemson, and it was the play calling that really didn't give him much of an opportunity to do much. Very bland, very vanilla playbook from Shannon Dawson. That's what you expect of the backup quarterback. I think the big tell, though, is that Miami's offense just doesn't have that much in the playbook to go deep. Right now, you take a look at what Clayton Tune was doing a year ago. That's the Houston quarterback. Shannon Dawson was his OC. He was throwing for about 313 yards a game. This year, Tyler Van Dyke throws for about 285. Now, those are not bad numbers by any means, Wrigley, but Miami runs the ball so much better than Houston does. So coming off those run plays come your play actions, your pre-snap movement that opens up the big part of the field. If Miami's offense can get to that, they can be really dynamic moving forward.
Well, Andrew, the Canes' offense may not have been very exciting, but the defense stepped up in a big way. They were coming off a game where they gave up over 500 total yards of offense to UNC. They rebounded in a big way against Clemson, holding the Tigers to 31 yards on the ground, getting 5 sacks in the process. The defensive line was dominant in that game.
Well, Wrigley, Miami makes their money where we do, in the trenches, and it was Ruben Bain going crazy for the Hurricanes against the Clemson Tigers. One of the best games of his career. 8 tackles, 2 sacks, a forced fumble. He was named ACC Rookie and Defensive Lineman of the Week. This guy is absolutely terrifying. He's playing like a chicken with his head cut off right now. An absolute madman, playing his best football at a scary time with Halloween weekend coming up.
Well, Andrew, moving on to tomorrow, the Canes are taking on Virginia, a team that's coming off an upset win against UNC. How can they avoid a similar fate?
Well, Wrigley, of course, I mentioned it's Halloween weekend, so we've got some inspired Frankenklein's keys today to scare off the Virginia Cavaliers. Number 1, bring it in. It's use tricks to get treats. I mentioned that offense has been vanilla. Not even vanilla bean, just plain vanilla. It's boring. They need to find that next level of offensive consistency. Use trick plays to get there to get you into that end zone. Number 2, bring it in. It's Bain or Bane. Nobody cared who Ruben was till he put on the mask. Now he's been one of Miami's best defensive players. Number 3, Skello, run the ball. You run the ball well, Miami 190 yards a game-ish. They should be able to be successful against the Cavaliers.
Well, Andrew, that's about all the time we have, so let's send it back to the desk.
If you've been to a Canes football game, chances are you have seen a fan suited up in full Miami gear. But for this fan, it's more than just a game. It's a tradition that he uses to honor his brother. Manny Nacarado tells us more.
When you look inside Hard Rock Stadium on a Saturday afternoon, you might find what looks like a bunch of Hurricane fans. But one fan in particular stands out from the rest.
Yeah, I actually see him every game. He's dressed in like the whole football outfit. I love that guy.
Well, that guy's name is Shelton Dolthed, and his reason for dressing like this runs deep. His mom was able to get him his first set of Canes tickets back in the 80s.
And she got tickets to a Hurricanes game one year. She gave it to my dad. My dad took me and my brother down to the Orange Bowl. And from right then and there, it was love at first sight.
A love that Shelton and his brother had in common.
Shared a lot of things common, but that was one of the most precious things that about our relationship. We had a relationship with loving the Hurricanes.
And after years of going to Hurricanes games together, tragedy struck as Wayne contracted walking pneumonia.
He was in a hospital bed, and we was watching the Georgia Tech game. And he looked up at the TV, and he pointed at the TV, like, when are you gonna do that? And I looked at the TV, I was like, do what? I'm trying to piece together what he was trying to say, and I was like, you mean suit up?
Unfortunately, Wayne never got to see this through as he passed away in the hospital.
I walked back into the room because we shared a room at that time, and I walked back in the room, just sat there on the bed, and I'm like, nah, this is not real.
But since then, Shelton has turned this sad tragedy into something positive, dressing up in full Hurricanes uniforms for every game for over 14 years.
When I watch what Shelton does for his brother, every day he puts on the suit and goes to a game, and he's doing it to honor his brother, I can feel the love that's there, and it just reminds me how important family is to him.
And the fans are not the only ones that recognize Shelton's loyalty to the team. The school has as well. In fact, the team gifted him a complete uniform as a token of their appreciation. But that wasn't it. The following week, Shelton was honored as season ticket holder of the game last Saturday against Clemson.
When I put on the uniform, it just feels like he's hugging me. But at that moment, it wasn't just a hug. It was just standing in front of hundreds of fans, and they were just cheering for us. I can't explain it any better than that, man.
For UMTV, I'm Manny Nacarado.
Coming up, the conflict in Israel has been affecting some Hurricane alumni and not in the way you'd expect. Ryan Marshall has the story when we come back.
Kevin, you thinking about retirement?
I'd love to, but I'm pretty busy with all this.
Yeah. Hey, let's meet our retirement coach, Avo. A is for taking action.
Not anxiety?
No, Kevin, you're gonna be fine.
You sing?
Barely. V is for variety.
And you dance?
Sort of. Come on. O is for optimize your savings.
Let Avo lead the way.
Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
Nice.
Thanks.
In the weeks following Hamas's attack on Israel, the conflict has had many far-reaching effects, including in the world of sports. And for two former Miami Hurricane basketball players, the conflict hits home. Before the recent success and deep tournament runs of the University of Miami's basketball program, the best team in the program's history was their ACC championship team in 2013. And for two former Hurricane teammates, their professional basketball careers led them overseas. Along their journeys, both Julian Gamble and Duran Scott played in the Israeli Basketball League.
And one of the places that I was, fortunate to land in was Israel, which is a beautiful place. It's actually one of my favorite places. I love playing basketball there.
You know, previous to that, I hadn't really lived in a place that had the type of weather and environment that Israel had, and it honestly reminded me a lot of Miami.
And for both Gamble and Scott, the news of the current conflict between Israel and Palestine hit home.
Well, I immediately started thinking about my friends and friends that I call close family, from relationships I built in Israel to, the players that I know on the U.S. side that are currently playing in Israel as well.
And Gamble, who most recently played for Beirut Club in the Lebanese Basketball League, made a decision to come home to the U.S. after the attacks in Israel.
But for me personally, I had to make a decision that I felt like was best for me. And although it was difficult because I know that I have a contract and I am a professional, family's more important than that. And there are things that are more important than basketball.
Ryan Marshall, UMTV.
The college basketball season tips off this weekend as the men's squad has their first exhibition game on Sunday. Our Hurricane Hangtime crew previews the men's and women's teams before the season gets underway. Guys?
Thanks, guys, and welcome back to Hurricane Hangtime. I'm your host, Jordan Cirillo, joined by Michael Muela and Annie Watson. Mike, you had the chance to hear from Coach L earlier this week. What are some of the things he addressed regarding Miami's exhibition match this weekend?
Yeah, I did get a chance to hear from Coach L, and he really emphasized how Wooga Papa can really break out of his shell, not only as a best player in the ACC, but one of the best players in the entire country, emphasizing the importance of his pull-up jump shot, focusing on one of the interior strengths of his game, but he also praised his assistant coaching staff for bringing in top transfers like Matthew Cleveland. Here's what he had to say.
We're going to the Florida State University campus. We're not going to go on campus. We're just going to go across the street. And we did that, not once, but twice, to make sure that Matt knew that he was our highest priority in the portal.
Coach O really emphasized how Matthew Cleveland can step up and be that kind of replacement that Jordan Miller was for Miami a year ago. Look for him to step up and get that opportunity this Sunday.
Miami's first official exhibition match is this Sunday against TCNJ. What are some of the things Canes fans should be paying attention to?
This Canes team is young, they're fast, they're tough, they're resilient, and they are hungry. Look for them to be physical on the offensive side of the ball in the paint and on the defensive side of the ball on the rebounding edge. Look for them to come out swinging early and often this Sunday.
Over on the women's side, Coach Meyer mentioned that many of her players improved over the offseason. Annie, who did she touch on specifically?
She touched on her three core veterans, Lachey Dwyer, Jalea Williams, and Jasmine Roberts, especially highlighting Roberts' performance and improvement in the back half of last season and throughout the offseason. Coach Katie Meyer is confident in Jasmine Roberts' role as a starter and helping bring in the transfers and the younger members of the squad, as they can unite starting this season.
The women's squad does not have an exhibition match to start out their season. How will they be prepping for the first few matchups?
Practice, practice, practice. They'll be working together with their chemistry and hoping to make a deep run again this season, but doing it a little bit differently. Let's see what Coach Meyer had to say.
So that will continue, the intensity, what details matter, and that kind of thing. But yeah, this team is so different than last year's team that we gotta do it again in a different way.
Coach Katie Meyer and the Lady Canes are confident in their run this season, and we'll see how they fare out starting in a couple weeks.
Basketball season is officially upon us. Well, that wraps up Hang Time for today. Let's send it back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. Canes women's basketball forward Lazaria Spearman experienced history in her first year with the team last season. Tatenda Mukure-Shiza got to spend time with her for this edition of Athlete of the Week from the Watsco Center.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Athlete of the Week. I'm your host, Tatenda Mukure-Shiza, and today I'm here in the Watsco Center and I'm interviewing Lazaria Spearman. Let's do this. So how did you get into basketball?
It's crazy because none of my family members really played basketball, honestly.
Okay.
I was really the first one to actually go out and just like play a sport. Everyone in my family is really into music, so I just tried to be something different.
Who's your celebrity crush and why?
Zendaya.
Zendaya?
Yeah, she's my celebrity crush since middle school. She's just so beautiful.
What motivates you?
My family.
Your family?
Yeah, because honestly, we didn't really have a lot when we was like growing up, so it's like we had to do a lot working. Like my mom had to work like really hard to get me to where I had to be, and she's still working hard. So it's like I look back and like I gotta do this for my mom.
What is your favorite part of being a Hurricane?
Look,
Yes.
favorite part about being a Hurricane, the games, the fans, how like they're so supportive. Like, everybody here is just so supportive. Like, you know that they have your back.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I love
And it's
that.
just so much love. It's amazing.
Show me your favorite dance move. Hey. So you're a sophomore this year. What's one thing that you're expecting to be different, both on the court and off the court?
On the court, just having a dog mentality, honestly. Like, I'm just not like finna play with nobody no more. Cause like now I understand it, so it's like now it's time for me to turn up.
Let's move back a little.
Yeah,
Let's
you can move back.
Let's add a little bit of a challenge.
I'm calling this one. What'd I say? Oh, if you work harder. Oh, for sure. Look at it, look at it.
So how did I do today?
You did amazing.
I did?
You're good, yeah.
Are you sure?
I told you if you hit that shot, you got it, and you won.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Always.
Are you excited about the season?
Yeah, really excited.
You are?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for joining us,
No problem.
It was amazing. Well, remember to be good, and if you can't be good, be safe. Back to you at the desk.
Up next, bump, set, spike, stand. Simone Werner did all of this and more when we return. Stay with us. But first, it's time for some trivia. Canes soccer wrapped up their season last night with 3 total wins, but when was the last time Miami earned double-digit wins in a single season? Was it A, 2011, B, 2012, C, 2013, or D, 2016? Find out the answer when SportsDesk returns.
Anytime they're playing music downstairs, it's loud. I go downstairs, see what they're doing, see what music they're doing, see what they're dancing to. I go play piano downstairs, they come get involved. Leah has a drum set beside it, banging that. Any music, that's what they do.
Boys, happy Halloween. Any special plans?
Party tonight, but I don't got anything for actual Halloween.
Marshall?
I want to know, what are you dressing up as?
Well, I'm going as Goose, actually, from Top Gun.
Roll over. Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother and...
I am totally a hat person. Right, guys?
Thanks for being honest.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back in. If you guessed D, you are correct. Canes soccer won 12 games back in the 2016 to 2017 season, finishing 12-8-1. That same year was their ACC tournament appearance, and their last NCAA tournament appearance came back in 2012 to the 2013 season. There is a palpitation throughout the nation, an unshakable sensation deserving of the highest commendation. Oh, I just received a notification. He's ready for initiation. Niles, disclose your jubilation.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, it's homecoming weekend. Your boy is king, you dig? But nevertheless, I'm here to appease my loyal subjects by giving you the most electrifying segment on TV with me, Niles Nassim, your host with the most. So when you see me on screen, it's time to go behind the post. I've been waiting all year to say this. Cardiac Canes. Last Sunday, Miami would tangle with the Tigers, beating Clemson 28-20 in double overtime. Now, this game had everything. It had more ups and downs than Ross and Rachel on Friends. Miami would surge back behind the incredible play of their second-string quarterback, Emory Williams. And now look, the Canes are now 5-2, which means you know what to do. Keep the momentum going so we can be FS Who? But let's not look ahead. Instead, let's lock in, because if we want this to be a great year, tomorrow we must beat the Virginia Cavaliers. Make sure to pop out to the homecoming game, because kickoff is at 3:30 and you don't want to miss it. And what can I say? Sunday is also game day and basketball is back on the attack. This week was media week and we got to see a sneak peek of all the fun our athletes are having both on and on the court. Now look, the men's and women's teams sat down with the media to discuss their mindset heading into the season with such high stakes. And look, we cannot wait. Reminder, both teams are coming off an incredible tournament run, especially the men who made it all the way to the Final Four. And now they are back to settle the score. The men will be playing Sunday at the Wasco Center against TCNJ, and I still don't know who that is, at 2 p.m. And in the end, I still got to show love to our volleyball team who's playing today in South Bend. Our volleyball team is actually live right now on the ACC network, so when you get done watching me, switch the TV. Good luck to the women's volleyball team who are on a 3-game win streak, and they haven't even hit their peak. But look, that's all the time I got. Please make sure to always be blessed, never stress, because you know where to find me right here on SportsDesk. I'm Niles Nassim.
Canes volleyball picked up 2 big wins at home this past week with sweeps against Syracuse and Boston College. But there's something else about the Knight Sports Complex that has the team so excited. Daryl Barnes has the story.
What started off as an unusual 7 a.m. meeting for Canes volleyball,
They're being like a little weird, but like we didn't know why, of course.
turned into a surprise 8 years in the making. On October 13th, Coach Ken Ogondoro revealed the squad's brand new renovated courts.
Yeah, I've been excited for a while, and so it was kind of more external to watch them enjoy it, as I anticipated that they would.
The school changed the volleyball court from hardwood to a material called Terraflex, which has a list of benefits for players, but the game changer for this team is being able to dive on it without the pain of hardwood.
I mean, you know, Terraflex is known for like being a very soft surface so you can fly. So like I think the first thing we all did, even like our director of ops, literally got on the floor and started rolling around.
The updated court is meant to make it easier for hitters like Neilani, who spent a lot of time diving for balls. But the renovation itself turned out to be an empowering gesture for a team that traditionally doesn't get a lot of recognition from admin.
It reinforces us that like the hard work we've been putting in is being rewarded.
And it's always easier to keep working hard when you have nice things. For UMTV, I'm Daryl Barnes.
You may be out of breath after this one. She certainly was. Simone Werner dives into the sand with the club beach volleyball team for this week's edition of Off the Bench.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Off the Bench. This is a segment where I try out different club sports at the University of Miami to tell you all about them and how you can get involved. Today I'm here with the women's beach volleyball team and I'm ready to kill it.
The UM women's beach volleyball team practices 3 times a week on the Lakeside Village volleyball courts. We started off practice in a group huddle and the coach surprised me with the news that this practice we were strength training. We started with agility bands to work on our leg strength.
That was painful.
Then it was time to try getting 100 bumps in a row. It started off smoothly, but it turned south pretty quickly. And every time that we messed up, there was a consequence. Push-ups.
My arms are too bony for this.
And push-ups. And more push-ups. But I did eventually get the hang of it. Then it was time for 100 sets, and after some mess-ups and more push-ups, and putting my hair up.
Okay, the hair is up. We're ready.
I got a little bit better at that too.
Woo!
And just when I thought the workout was over, I was proven wrong. We did planks, and more planks. Then it was time for some 2v2. At first, I accidentally let the other team get a point, but I actually didn't miss the ball the second time. And on my third try, I accidentally sent the ball backwards, but we got the point anyway. And our team won in the end, so we celebrated. And I may have walked the wrong way after the celebration, but no one seemed to notice.
All right, so I'm here with Nicole Carpenter. She is one of the co-founders of the Canes Beach Volleyball Club. Nicole, how do you think I did today?
Honestly, for like not have touching the ball ever like in your entire life, You did really good.
Thank you. I had so much fun. So how can people try out if they're interested? Is it a tryout process? How does that work?
So we do tryouts. Next semester for spring, anybody can try out who has a little bit more of a level because we're trying to be a competitive team. Canes Beach VB is where we post all of our news and all of the information about tournaments. If you guys ever want to come out and support and just follow us, that's where we are.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for having me here today. I had an absolute blast.
You did amazing. Anytime.
Thank you. All right, so that's all the time we have for Off the Bench today. Serving it back to you guys at the desk.
Still ahead, hear how one member of the Frost Band of the Hour has faced challenges head on, and how he's let nothing get in the way of him living his dream. Stay with us.
Sometimes we can do things that exclude others.
You're still talking to your friends? It's complicated.
I think he went back in. We gotta go get him.
Welcome to Jumanji! Even the smallest words and actions can have a big effect on someone. You have the skills. Because of you, someone's entire day, their year, or their life can change.
Remember, the future is in your hands.
Visit becauseofyou.org to learn more.
Totally, let's do it.
The Frost Band of the Hour has quite the presence on campus, and you have to see it to believe it. For one member, however, he performs without ever seeing the field. Olivia Howell has a story.
The University of Miami's football team is known around the country, but no college game day experience would feel complete without a performance from the Frost Band of the Hour. For more than 90 years, the band has performed at every home game, and whether it's the pregame or the halftime show, or the alma mater playing after a huge win, Canes fans far and wide can't wait to hear from the iconic ensemble. But for one member of the band, the drills look a bit different. Meet Caden Jamid, a freshman on the pre-law track double majoring in philosophy and political science, and he has been playing the trumpet since middle school. He performs in every band routine and learns every piece of music, all without seeing a thing.
I would get music in Braille, but I would always ultimately work to make sure I would memorize my music. I enjoyed the challenge of learning new music and making sure I can get it down packed and sounding good.
Despite the obstacles he may face, Caden's bandmates are some of his biggest supporters.
I've never had a blind student in the marching band before. In fact, I'm not sure that I've ever even heard of a blind student in a marching band. So this is really uncharted territory for all of us, but Caden is outstanding and it's coming together beautifully.
One thing that Caden does not shy away from is hard work.
I just eventually, just continued practicing and, try to work my skill up to as high as I can get it to be.
And that dedication certainly doesn't go unnoticed.
Caden is just such a fearless and engaged young man. I mean, he really loves doing this. He loves playing his trumpet, and he wants to be incredibly independent, and he wants to function at a really high level. And so it's really a testament to just understanding that that's really the key to everything we do in life.
Caden continues inspiring those around him, and when you talk to others about him, the one thing they seem to appreciate the most is his ability to make them laugh.
There have been so many times when I'll say, okay, can you see the yard line over here? And you'll hear one voice go, nope. He has a great sense of self, and he loves doing this activity, he loves making music, and it's something that can bring us all together.
For UMTV, I'm Olivia Howell.
It's been a rough past couple of seasons for Zion Williamson, who has struggled with injuries, but finally he is back and looking explosive. Let's head over to Memphis to take a look. You're going to see right here, Zion's going to be dribbling at the top of the key, and he's going to just split two defenders like that, and boom! That is on Jaren Jackson Jr., and if you guys didn't know, he's the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. And let's get another look. This guy is huge. How is he splitting two defenders like that? And then he's going to cock it back and hit it right in Triple J's mouth. And that's going to be your play of the day.
That is a big man doing big man things, but this last week, Miami honored its most recent inductees into the Ring of Honor. This ceremony was conducted at halftime of last week's game against Clemson. This year's class included coaches Jimmy Johnson and Dennis Erickson, as well as All-American running back Chuck Foreman. Well-deserved for these guys. Good to see them getting shown some recognition at Hard Rock.
Yeah, it's really great to see. I love those moments at halftime. But that's all the time we have on this week's edition of Sports Desk.
Thanks for pumpkin spicing up your Friday by joining us. Don't worry, I won't use up all of my Halloween puns right now. I do have some vampire ones, but they suck.
Hey, I got one more pun for you, one more pun. Let's have a fantastic Halloween and homecoming weekend. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.